Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Scratch the Track podcast, presented by the Dude and Grim Show. I am the Dude.
And I'm Grim. And today we are going to discuss a personal favorite of mine when it comes to new rock, and that would be the self-titled album by the supergroup Them Crooked Vultures.
Ooh, Grim, why don't you tell us who is in Them Crooked Vultures? Because it might be a trio of people that some of you people out there are familiar with. And if you're not, you fucking should be.
Yeah. So we have Dave Grohl on drums.
Yeah. Nirvana, Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah. Done some shit. Homme. Queens of the Stone Age. Caius. Desert Sessions. All around awesome.
Solid.
Yeah. And then somehow they just went ahead and they got John Paul Jones, bassist of, I don't know, fucking Led Zeppelin.
It's like, hey, if you're not doing anything, you want to come play bass and awesome organ, keyboard, piano.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because if you look at like the credits, I mean, so Dave Grohl is credited with drums and backing vocals. Homme is credited with lead vocals, guitars, and slide guitar. John Paul Jones's credits include bass, keyboards, clavinet, piano, guitar, lap steel guitar, slide bass guitar, mandolin, violin, and backing vocals.
Wow.
Holy shit.
So for those of you scoring at home, that's a lot of stuff. So he's pretty good.
And I feel like he was always an unsung hero of Led Zeppelin.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I feel like he is the least talked about. I mean, people always talk about Jimmy Page. Obviously, you can say Clapton is a guy, but Jimmy Page is fucking, I don't know what he is, because he is like another world alien or something.
Yeah.
Robert Plant, his vocals, his long blonde
unmatched
locks, you know, I mean, he's just a beautiful human. And then John Bonham, amazing drummer, and I feel like his sort of legacy, I hate to put it in these terms, his grown because he passed away at such a young age. That doesn't, I mean, he is a phenomenal drummer, but it's just one of those things where I think
it grows.
It grows. But John Paul Jones was just kind of like the quiet guy behind the scenes doing some badass shit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was doing some awesome stuff. And I have that Led Zeppelin, and I know you have it too, that Led Zeppelin live DVD where you actually get to see them, perform live, obviously. And you just see all the stuff that he does. And
he's got a Rhodes on stage. He's got a Mellotron. I mean, there's so many things that I'm not going to say aren't credited to him, because they are, but I just think people don't realize what an incredible contribution he had to the band.
Yeah.
And another thing real quick, as you were talking about Robert Plant, I was going to let you know, Duder, I kind of tend to be a podcast nerd nowadays. Robert Plant has a podcast called Digging Deep. That's fucking great. He tells some of the stories behind like his experiences and what led to like writing Led Zeppelin songs. And he just has such a nice like demeanor and charm about him.
Seems like a cool dude.
Yeah.
Robert, if you're watching, we would love to have you on the Scratch Track podcast.
Oh yeah, so, please.
Hit us up. Slide into our DMs.
And another person that I would like to mention who is kind of a informal or partial member of Queens of the Stone Age, definitely participates in the Desert Sessions, I believe, is Alain Johannes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he is credited for the recording on Dead and Friends, Reptiles, and Interlude with Ludes, one of my favorites, and backing vocals. But he also, I think, was the fourth member when they toured live. But he's done a lot of great stuff on Queens of the Stone Age stuff, and he's kind of been connected to Homme in that like desert scene.
Desert Storm Ninja Commando.
Yeah. And he seems like a really cool guy and a great musician.
Is he, and I don't know a whole lot about him.
I think he's Chilean.
I meant to, I wasn't, well, okay. is he more of like a studio musician? Is he been in like bands or other bands or participating in anybody that you know? Because I know I meant to look that up before I got on there, and obviously I didn't. So maybe you're looking that up now. But
I am.
But his name popped out to me, and I was just curious, like who else he collaborated with, because Josh Homme does stuff with a bunch of other people, and I mean, obviously it's badass. He's doing stuff with Dave Grohl and John Paul Jones. So I was just curious, like who this dude was and if he had,
Well,
yes.
I'm glad you asked. He is the founding member of what they say are several alternative rock bands, including 11, which I have not heard of, but he's been involved with Queens of Stone Age, Them Crooked Vultures, PJ Harvey, Chris Cornell, Arctic Monkeys, Mark Lanigan, The Desert Sessions.
Okay.
As both a musician and producer.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it seems like
sounds like he's really good at what he does.
Yeah. Really cool guy.
Awesome. That's pretty badass. Dude.
So I want to give a shout out. We haven't, sometimes we forget to give shout outs. Before we give shout outs, let's give a shout out to everyone else. And if you please would, that would be really awesome.
Okay.
I was going to give a shout out to Mr. Leland Lee Bosman, who introduced me to this album back when I was playing in a band with him, 15th Street. He kind of hooked me on to Them Crooked Vultures. And, of course, he's like, dude, have you heard of this band? And I was like, no, I've never heard of the name. And he's like, oh, here's who's in the band. And I'm like, how the fuck have I never heard of this? So thank you, Cliff Lee, for hooking that up, because
you're a great pitcher.
Yeah, great find.
Great pitcher. Dude, I have a question. Is this the best supergroup ever?
Boy, that's a really good question.
And that's why I asked.
There you go. I kind of want to say yes.
Dirty Mac.
Okay, no. Second, the Dirty Mac has
They never put out an album, though.
Good point. Damn,
Ventura.
That's fucked up. Yeah.
Is this the best supergroup that put out an album?
Yes, I think so.
Temple of the Dog? Audio Slave?
To me, this album it's better than those.
Okay.
To me, now that's just one man's opinion.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like that. And the reason I say that is because I think many people would argue Cream was a supergroup, because you had three very prominent musicians. But let's face it, unless you were like in London in that time, prior to Cream, I had never heard of Jack Bruce or Ginger Baker. Now people had heard of Clapton.
God.
But again, who am I? I wasn't there. I don't know.
Who are you?
But those guys were very prominent in their own right. But I just not having been there, hadn't heard of them. But I think it's safe to say that definitely had heard of Dave Grohl, definitely had heard of Josh Homme, and most fucking certainly John Paul Jones. And how they got him to play, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think it's super, super cool. And it's interesting. I mean, dude, this will, I think, come on the heels of some previous, I guess, Foo Fighters albums. This episode will come out. I think previously we've discussed their new album that just came out. Also, the Foo Fighters debut album, but Dave Grohl, like, let's talk about him for a second. I mean, dude, he's in Nirvana. He's their drummer.
Yeah.
We all know that whole story. We don't have to get into all that. But Nirvana ends. He's like, oh, well, I'm just going to go do my own thing. In a week, he records the debut, like, Foo Fighters album.
Which I still think is the best one.
Just kind of fucking around.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. What I mean?
Yeah.
And then they become a huge band. Then Songs for the Deaf comes out. Josh Homme asks him to play drums on that. He plays drums on that. they tour together. He plays drums on With Teeth and Nine Inch Nails with Trent Reznor.
Yeah.
Plays drums on I think the majority of the songs on that album.
Okay.
And you're just like, dude, like what can't you do? And we've talked about, what is it? The documentaries that
Sound
City and
Sonic Highways was a really great series.
I mean, he seems like a cool dude. Like, I'm just like, hey, Dave, come have it, dude.
Yeah,
hang out with us.
To you.
Hang out with us.
I was actually gonna say, like, I think arguably, in my opinion, not arguably, but the coolest guy in rock and roll. I mean,
yeah,
just seems to be a generally well respected,
good
cool
dude.
guy.
Yeah. So
Like, subscribe, and comment
below. Play the game. You want to scratch some tracks with us, Dave? And just hit us up. Slide into our DMs. We're open.
Yeah.
We'll hang out with you, man. You seem like a cool dude.
I mean, we can just move the table forward. There's another seat. Here.
I can get a wider lens. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right. It'll make everything bigger for all of us, which, no man will.
It looks like you
to.
couldn't fit a set down here, but you can't see the other part. We can put it in
walls.
between the Hammond organ and the clavinet, so we're good.
Exactly. Well,
So anyways, Them Crooked Vultures. Dude, I was honestly like, so when I was introduced to this album, I was already obviously a fan of Foo Fighters.
Sure.
First and foremost, Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Because they were out first.
Yeah,
then Foo Fighters, and then Queens of the Stone Age. And so when I heard this, I, immediately gravitated toward the music and was just like, this is awesome. And full disclosure, did not hear about it in 2009 when it came out. I think I was probably a couple years late to the party, which
it happens to the best
regretfully so. But I mean, I have listened to this album pretty regularly since it's since it was introduced to me, and really just dug it. I mean, it's interesting because I think that if you talk about Josh Homme, who I think is an just awesome musician, and I really like the stuff he puts out, there are some things that to me you can distinctly hear with him. And so like I have the most recent Desert Sessions record upstairs.
Dude, let's listen to that tomorrow.
Oh yeah. We listen to that regularly. Sweet. Dude. Me and Lisa love that.
I've never heard it. Oh yeah, I want to.
Really good.
That'd be awesome.
So I can hear his influence in that. You can obviously hear it in Queens of the Stone Age. The one that really surprised me was when I had heard that Iggy Pop put out a new record some years ago called Post Pop Depression.
That's right.
And I listened to the record, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, fuck, dude, this sounds like Queens of the Stone Age. And then I read about it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, because Josh Homme, another guy who's in Queens of the Stone Age, and the drummer for the Arctic Monkeys, were basically the fucking band behind this. So it makes sense that it sounds like them. And I just think that's really cool about what he does, is that it's not like everything sounds the same by any means, but there's some sort of like feel or consistency that kind of comes through. And I really like his approach to music. Dude, really like it.
No, that's cool, man. Yeah. I mean, it's so cool that he has worked and collaborated with all these other musicians, and that's, I don't know, maybe that's something that it just has to do with the times that we live in now, where as a society we have so much more access to social media and listening to people, but these musicians have access to, like, oh, hey, I'm going to call your people and you call my people and let's hang out and let's do this.
In a way that probably did not exist before.
And hey, oh, you're in, I'm in California and you're in, London, and oh, I'll just send you the tracks and you put them in Pro Tools. I'll put in my part. I'll send them back to however it works. Like that's pretty badass that, people are able to collaborate like that. And, I'm sure during these trying times, the Gorillaz put out an album when there's, You know,
Yeah.
I with a lot of collaborations and stuff, I'm sure that's kind of how this stuff works. When you can basically, dude, you're trading files at that point, right?
But I think in this instance, they were together. Yeah, they were physically together. And there's an interesting thing where I read that it says in a 2019 post that Jimmy Page suggested that he could have been part of the band as well, based on conversations he had with Dave Grohl. Holy shitballs, would that have been amazing? Like him and Josh Homme playing opposite each other.
I would not have been opposed to hearing that or seeing that live.
Oh, I would have fucking barfed. Like that'd be just, that's like, almost too much.
Spew into this.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah, exactly.
The only thing in reading about this, there are two big takeaways for me. Number one, really fucking disappointed that I didn't know about it earlier to have caught them on tour. Really would have loved to have caught them on tour.
Yeah, that's one of those things that unfortunately,
fucker,
it kind of sucks a little bit because there's time. I mean, life happens, right? Things get in the way, and you're like, oh shit, maybe for 3 to 6 months, I kind of wasn't paying attention to the scene and didn't know that this was happening. The album was coming out, or maybe there was a tour being put together or whatever. And you just kind of miss out on it.
Well, and I missed out on it just from my own sort of, I don't want to say reluctance, but I'm going to say ignorance to technology. Like I'm good with recording technology, but let me put it to you this way. So a couple of years after I found out about this album, I met my wife, and of course I had my own house at this time, and she would come over to the house when we were dating, and she asked me if I had Wi-Fi. I did not know what Wi-Fi was because my shit was hardwired in, and like, Dude, I still had a flip phone, dude. It's like 2011. I mean, this is where I was. I'm just kind of like, behind a little bit. No. And that's just, it's amazing that we're here now because, I mean,
look at this setup we got going.
Yeah.
This is live.
There's fucking, dude, this is connected via Wi-Fi. So like we're okay now.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was like, what the fuck is that shit? Yeah, like what a dipshit, right?
I'm surprised she didn't fucking walk out.
Oh, she should have.
Yeah, she probably should have.
Yeah. Anyways, so found out about this and, here we are. So New Fang was the single that they released.
Which looking at it, I understand why it was a single. I know we're not getting the tracks quite yet, but dude, that won a fucking Grammy, didn't it?
I believe so.
Yeah, for best, hard rock performance, whatever stupid fucking name they give these. songs.
But I think that's cool, dude. Not that any of these guys probably give half of a shit about the Grammys, but I still think that's cool because honestly, that was one thing that I've always thought about this album is that I can't think of any modern rock music that I would put, like there are very few things that I would like categorize with this as like, this was released as modern rock music and I rank it up this high.
Well, when I think about this, I mean, this is, let's say the album was released technically in, November of 2009. So
just about
2010. I mean, rock music is, and obviously this is varying opinion here, but I would say in the popular culture has taken sort of a step back.
Oh yeah.
And I think about, all right, what are the top rock music bands, like real rock music bands, and the ones that obviously always come to the forefront for me are, Radiohead, Nine Inch Nails, but Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah,
definitely.
But see, I don't put Radiohead in the same category as these guys.
Definitely not.
They're fucking Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
This is like rock music.
Yeah, this is rock. This is rock music. Absolutely. I mean, because Radiohead's not making OK Computer Part 5 at this point. Right?
And even OK Computer is still on a different plane than this album.
Yeah, Pablo Honey, maybe no.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
How's that smoked old fashioned treating you, dude?
Fucking smoky.
It's not bad, dude.
It's not bad. I'll probably keep drinking it.
I think we got enough syrup for one more round.
Shit. We're in luck. So I will say, and I would love, I've been on YouTube, and for those of you who haven't, check out some interviews on YouTube, search, Them Crooked Vultures and everything, and you get a little bit of a flavor. They did a handful of, I guess what I would call them press interviews.
Yeah, sure.
With the press, but it's all three of them before shows, after shows, before, around tour time and everything when they were doing this stuff. And it's pretty cool to see them all in the same room and getting an interview and answering questions. It's basically the same questions, the same answers, like over and over over again.
Those, like, Dave Grohl and Josh Homme had to be fucking geek, because those guys grew up on Led Zeppelin. And I think I remember hearing an interview or something where I feel like it was Dave Grohl, because he's pretty vocal and talkative. And, he like recalled some conversation where he was talking with Josh Homme about it, and he was like, wait, like John Paul Jones, like from Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And the two of them were like, holy shit, like, how is this happening?
Not like the John Paul Jones from like St. Louis.
Yeah.
That dude. Yeah. Yeah. That dude, man, that must have been pretty sweet.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah. That must have been really fucking cool. There is information out there, and you can see the interviews and whatnot. And I just think it's pretty cool that these guys got together and they put an album together. And then I saw interviews shortly after this album came out, and they're like, oh yeah, we're in the studio, we're working on a second album.
I was just going to talk about that.
And
what a fucking bummer that is not out.
It hasn't happened. I mean, the thing
is,
hasn't
happened yet. As William Shatner said.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened yet.
But, Josh Homme did more Queens of the Stone Age stuff. Dave Grohl did more Foo Fighters stuff. Personally, I don't know what John Paul Jones is really been working on and doing.
But at this point in his life, he doesn't need to fucking work on anything.
No,
like he's good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. I strive to be good. I'm not there yet, but that's why I'm going to keep doing these episodes. Yeah. So, I think we might be getting close, Graham. I think we might need to get into these tracks here in one hot minute.
Well, let's go ahead and scroll down and get into them.
All right, let's do that. Get into tracks. We're going to scratch these tracks, folks.
Or at least one. So.
Ooh, and I got mine picked.
The albums start, yeah, me too. This is a tough one for me. The album starts out, I think, really strong with No One Loves Me and Neither Do I. And I think this is I think a lot of these songs are interesting because I believe at the time Josh Homme was married to Brody Daly.
Yes.
But a lot of them talk about other relationships or instances. So this one particular seems to just talk about some chick that he just met at some point. And maybe it's not him. Maybe it's speaking in third person. But it seems like it's about some chick he just met. The line that comes to mind is, and she asked if I was rich, could I use a dirty bitch? Of course. And I said, no, yeah.
Who am I to be?
And so the whole thing is like two people that like really kind of have this self-loathing, and so no one loves me and neither do I.
Yeah. Looks like a good
but
time.
I really love, that breakdown. Yeah, it gets nice and heavy.
Well, one thing that I found overall with this album, and not just with this song, but and I think one of the reviewers actually said like, oh, it kind of sounds, it sounds, if I take like Queens of the Stone Age, Foo Fighters, Led Zeppelin, it does have more of the Queens feel. One thing I would really like to know is the creative process they went through in writing this album, because I feel like they are maybe more Josh Homme's sort of songs, and they have more his creative pen on them. But I would like to know how the others, filled in, which I'm sure they had a lot of creative input. But this song definitely has kind of that feel. In his vocal cadence, in a lot of these songs,
is very
cool. But this song, it has a very like kind of like, along with other songs, like this choppy kind of.
And I like that. Well, that's.
Is it a trademark of Queen's? Would you say?
I would, because I like the fact that I think when they were recording, maybe Villains, like before the recording of the album was done, and they just like let fans know they were recording. I think they released this post that just said like, the robots are back, and there's something about that like robotic kind of, you know, that just the cadence of it all that I really like, though, because it's, you know, the only thing I guess I think of with that sort of bit is almost like hip hop, because it, right. Mm-hmm. But you mix that with like this heavy rock, and it's just something all its own. And it does it for me.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, we were talking a little earlier about other rock bands of this era. And again, maybe I'm just disconnected. And we talked about a little bit about Radiohead, Nine Inch Nails, Queens of the Stone Age and stuff. But there's not a ton of like in the forefront in pop music culture, like real rock bands.
No, like absolutely not. It's all chicken shit nowadays.
That's cool. You can play with distortion. No. Like, dude, we rock.
Yeah, and dude, they have the light. They have everything. Yeah, no, I know.
They're the fucking real deal,
fucking wieners now, but like hot dogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, in this song, I think it both lyrically and you know, everything that goes along with it kind of exemplifies that. But I like Mind Eraser, No Chaser, because the Mind Eraser is actually a cocktail.
Oh, sounds like a fucking strong one, dude.
Yeah. I should look up the recipe. I should have, dude. What I should have done is brought my cocktail book down here, because
fucking just destroying our careers over one drink at a time.
Yeah. But the Mind Eraser is a cocktail, and it consists of, let's look. It looks interesting to me. It hails from the 1980s, but I like the fact that the song is called. Looks like Mind Eraser. So it's got coffee liqueur, vodka, and club soda. That doesn't sound that great. Not how I would make a cocktail, but
and I surely wouldn't call it a fucking Mind Eraser.
Yeah, for coffee, liqueur, and vodka, dude. I'll tell you what. Say, if you want to talk about a Mind Eraser, have the fucking Corpse Survivor #2, equal parts gin, Cointreau, Coche Americano, which is like a 13-14% aperitif wine.
Ooh.
And then lemon juice. Like, that one will fuck you up. That's a Mind Eraser. Yeah, that's a Mind Eraser, not this shit.
Yep.
Anyways, not the song, though. The song is awesome, and I like that they say No Chaser.
It is. And I think I kind of referenced earlier in the previous track, which is the only track we've talked about, sort of these other rock bands, maybe that might be rock bands, but kind of on the lighter side.
Yeah.
And this song actually reminds me a little bit of them in their vocals. And there's two bands I'm going to reference. And I hope the fans don't kill me out there, because I'm sure you are out there. But the way it's sung in some of the harmonies that are in the background, it kind of has like a Killer's Franz Ferdinand feeling a little bit.
But if I like Franz Ferdinand, not a Killer's fan.
Yeah.
But if the Killers didn't suck.
But I
shouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I'm not a Killers fan, but I see what you mean. Yeah. That was not fair. I apologize for any fans out there. That was not cool.
Please subscribe below. Or like
take a note of that.
Yep. But the way he sings this, it has that sort of, I don't want to call it quite poppy.
Yeah.
But the way he sings it, and then it has those kind of background harmonies, really reminds me of some of the work that they've done. One of my favorite lines in the song, it's a quick line, and it fits the song with Mind Eraser, No Chaser, which is actually really cool, man, because it's like, dude, Mind Eraser, we're doing some shots, no chaser. This is not like this is a mixer, but dude, I could just, man, what if I just took this down right now? I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, you shouldn't, dude.
No,
I make strong drink.
I know, because we got another like 12 songs to go through. But the line, dude, DIY kit lobotomy.
I know.
All right. Like, dude, it's like, hey, can I get a 2 for 1? Is there like
the other
buy
thing
one, get one free?
that I've really liked is give me the reason why the mind's a terrible thing to waste. Understanding is cruel, as the monkey said as it's launched to space. Like that's just, I've never heard a line like that in any other song. And I think that's really clever writing. That's really clever writing.
It's pretty dope. It is awesome. All right, then we get to I believe the first single off the album,
Fang,
which was New Fang, and that I think we discussed earlier won the Grammy for Best Rock Performance.
Yeah.
And I love this song. It's
got some slide in it.
It does. It reminds me a little bit of kind of the first song in a certain sense of it has this like. I know we talk about this sort of choppy feeling a little bit, but I also feel like it has like a bounce.
Yeah.
Sort of. And I really, really like it. It's like kind of like the song you can just, if you're sitting there and you're listening, you got your fucking earbuds, headphones on, you can just kind of tap your foot to, and you're like, oh yeah, I dig it. So his cadence is great, but it's just like really good rock song that moves.
And I really like in that first verse when he says, "Want to? Yes, I do." And he you're ready.
Yes, exactly.
I know. He plays with the singing, and it's really good.
Yeah. It's just he kind of has fun with it, and that's what I dig about it. Right.
Now the next song. I'm actually gonna go ahead and just throw this out there because
this is the one you're gonna scratch. Okay, cool. Well, we'll just end this episode here,
dude. This is actually my favorite song on the album.
Oh shit, son!
Dead End Friends.
Yeah.
Dude, it's
tell us why.
Everything about it. I think musically it's amazing. I like the lyrics, and I like that, dude. I feel like most people can relate to this. Like, you got those fucking dead end friends. Like, everyone has them. Now, maybe you don't have them now in your life, but you had them. You had them when you were younger or at some point.
It's like, oh, you know what? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, dude. You know what? What do they say? I know who you are, and I open the door and jump in. Like, dude, it just everything about it is reminiscent of something in people's lives. And dude, Nights in My Veins, It's Calling Me, racing around these arteries. I don't know. I ache for the touch of my dead end friends. Like, I gotta know, is there death at the end of the road? Like, there's words, just, man. Yeah, and I love the music. You know what it reminds me of is the Doors' American Prayer.
Interesting.
Where he's like, doesn't he say that in American Prayer? He's like, I'm going to go get in this car with these people and get fucked up. Yeah. Like that's what comes to my head when I hear this song. And I just love how that.
It's interesting you say that because later on there is a song that actually reminds me of some Doors stuff. Which this is such an interesting album too, because you bring in a variety of, I mean, these three musicians, but you could say Josh Homme and Dave Grohl are pretty much from the same era.
Oh, right? Yeah.
But then you bring in sort of a throwback from John Paul Jones. I mean, he's just older. He's been around longer, with just different influences and different feelings. And thinking about this album and listening to it, there are moments where I was listening to it, I was like, man, that really reminds me. It does remind you of Led Zeppelin at certain points.
Oh, dude, absolutely.
And it's really cool because it reminds me of Led Zeppelin in certain parts, even though maybe John Paul Jones, wasn't singing that part or playing guitar on that part or playing drums on that part.
I understand.
But you're like, fuck, man.
Yeah, I know.
that there's influence there, and that's why I'm very curious about the writing.
I know.
And the creative collaboration of this album, because you can see there's just those influences that twist and turn a little bit, and how these songs kind of came up and evolved.
So are we still on Dead End Friends?
Well, we can move on, but
I just want to say one thing I really like too is how, you know, it kind of starts with that riff, and then Josh Homme's playing that that other riff, and then he does the thing that is like total punk. He's like, pick it up, boom, and then it comes in. You know,
yeah.
I just, dude, this song, like that's the one like I can just listen to over and over. And the next one too, which we'll go into in Elephants. And I don't understand how Elephants make sense maybe in the song, but they kind of bring it in so it makes sense. But I've always really liked that line of I slick back my hair.
Yeah.
You know, the devil's in there.
Yeah, he does reference elephants in the song. And it should be noted in this album, it's interesting for a kind of I don't know if I'd say a straightforward rock album. There's some longer, some longer songs, and this one is one of the longer ones, and it comes in, I think, at just under 7 minutes.
Oh wow, I love this song.
Which it you know, it's got a really good opening riff, which is kind of cool, and there is at a certain point, I think it's about halfway through, it kind of transitions and moves slightly. It's not this dramatic transition, but it transitions into another part. And again, it kind of goes into choppy, but that opening riff is very cool in the way that it.
And I've always liked, to me, where I hear like the title being introduced along with just these other like themes is like lumbering giants in a shameful parade, which you can envision the elephants, right? The lumbering giants. We came to ruin all and make a rotten trade, like that. Yeah. It's just, good lyrics. One of my favorites.
So here's the thing, Grim, and I'm going to move on to the next song here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got something about this one too.
Scumbag Blues, and I'm curious. I am very curious to what you have about this song, because when I first heard this song, it reminded me actually of two songs. It reminded me of one song and a band that are different, the same era. First of all, it reminded me.
Can I guess the band?
Yeah.
Cream.
Yep. You fucker, dude. You motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I was going to ask you, man. What's the band? Dude, it is,
I know.
It is so Cream.
And I
so
think
Cream.
I think I read something once where somebody compared it to that, but I didn't need to read it. I just listened to the song. Dude. And it's like Jack Bruce's vocals, I feel free. Scumbag Blues.
Dude, right? Dude, it so fucking is, man. It is so that.
I'm so glad you heard that, because that's,
I mean, to a fucking T. It really was. Now, I will say this, when I referenced earlier, the song that it reminded me of, and this is just for like, man, 2 or 3 seconds right in the beginning. I believe it is Jimi Hendrix's 51st anniversary or something. Wasn't that on Audio Experience or just whatever that opening like little guitar riff is, just for the opening second, reminds me of, I mean, we're talking like 2 seconds, reminds me of the opening little guitar part of this song, and then it completely changes. There's some strumming pattern or something. Yeah. That's what it is. Exactly. That's what it is, man. But dude, it goes from that right into fucking Cream. It is so Cream, man. I'm
glad that you heard that, because I was waiting to talk about that, and I wondered if that was kind of what you got out of it.
Well, and then the thing is it has that, right? But then it goes at that part, once the and you're gonna know what instrument it is, I'm sure. John Paul Jones comes in, and it's trampled underfoot.
Oh yeah, the clavinet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
dude. He, I mean, of course.
I wish I would have had mine ready to play right now. What a piece of shit.
But I love it, because you get that. you sort of get that. You get the modern day Zeppelin touch.
Yeah,
Dude,
I know.
Good, man. Oh,
I know it is.
Dude.
It's great that you heard the cream, and I think that's a great thing because I agree. Like you hear the cream, but you don't just hear the clavinet. You hear like reminiscence of Trampled Underfoot.
Oh,
and I absolutely agree with that.
Which is one of my favorite Led Zeppelin.
Yeah,
fucking good.
So right. Bandoliers.
Bandoliers,
I like it because it kind of changes. It's a little darker.
Yeah.
And I don't know. To me, I don't. This isn't like some of these other songs where it's like I distinctly hear something else or something that it's influenced by. I feel like this song is a song that I hadn't heard or a band that I hadn't heard. And I'm not saying that I'm going to scratch this song, but Bandoliers is not my favorite song on the album. But I do think that the words and the music fit really well together, and about this prepare and take aim and then fire away. Because, you know, a bandolier is a fucking one of those straps of bullets that.
Oh, dude, I did.
That's what the word bandolier means. Yeah.
Sweet.
One of those big straps of bullets that people wear. So
no bullets.
It sounds like something about people.
Hope you have a happy new year.
Fighting. Yeah.
Anymore.
Yeah. All the soldiers fighting.
Yes. New York and Boston. Oh yeah, and all the soldiers fighting in Vietnam.
For Reptiles.
Oh, wait. Before we get to past family.
My bad.
So. One thing when I was listening to it, and comes from a production perspective, because earlier I was listening to it in headphones, which I hadn't done before, and I noticed that, and this is just such a small thing, but you had like sort of the main rhythm guitar kind of playing this riff, and and it's playing it mostly in the right channel, but then they did a cool thing where they almost doubled it, but doubled it just for like a split second, and in the left ear, and it kind of harmonizes with it.
Oh yeah, sure.
And I just thought that was really cool.
No, that is cool.
Like I was like, oh, okay, man, that's just such a different thing to do, because most people, I feel like with you have this.
They just double the riff.
Yeah, they double the riff, and also you'd be playing it in both channels, equally, right? But they're like putting more over here. And then it comes in for a second, it's doubled for a second.
But that kind of brings me back to when we were talking about Animals, because when you hear that David Gilmour solo, it's like it's the principal or the main tonic riff in one, and then it's like up by a third in the other. And so when you hear it together, it's that harmonizing of guitars. Yeah, it's going to be a long season.
Long season. All right, moving on. Reptiles. Now, not to be confused with Reptile by Nine Inch Nails.
On the downward
spiral, which we're all, I mean, let's be honest, we're all fucking going down there.
Yeah.
Ooh, Mark, the truth Knuth, sure to real. Thanks, Mark. Reptiles. Yeah.
I like this one. It's got some slide guitar in it, and I like, for some reason, how like certain lyrics will always get you. And the one that gets me in this song is where he's like, "You foreign tourist." Like I don't know what it is about it, but I really like that
stupid
lyric.
American. No. Yeah. So this song, it was interesting when I was listening to this song earlier, and I hate to always compare it to other music and other sounds. When I was listening to this song, the sort of the beat and the tempo, although in this song it's faster and much grittier, it actually reminds me of The Sky Has Fallen. If you listen to The Sky Has Fallen and you listen to this song,
I can hear similarities.
This one it's a little more, it's definitely more up tempo and it has a grittier sound. But there's something about it that just really reminded me of The Sky Has Fallen, which is a great song off Songs of the Deaf.
One of the best.
I dig it. But also there's acoustic that I hear in this song that's playing rhythm, which I don't hear in a lot of the other songs. At least it's not predominant.
True. And that's one thing I've always liked about this, the acoustic, and I'm not sure if the acoustics on the slide, because I like that. Yeah, that's I think that's a really nice touch.
Very shroomy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah. Shrooms and slide guitar.
Yeah.
That's by the Allman Brothers, you know?
Yeah, peeking at the beacon.
Ah.
Dude,
I'll eat a peach.
So speaking, interlude with Ludes. So
Okay. All right. Yes. And this is one. Remember when I talked to you earlier and I was like, dude, I want to talk about a song. It has nothing to do with the song.
Yeah.
Right. Dude, I've never done a Lude.
No, me
I don't
neither.
think you have either.
No,
right?
I haven't.
mean, and I don't know what it's like, but I have a feeling.
It seems like it'd be
sounds
like
this song. And you also haven't seen Wolf of Wall Street. And there is a phenomenal scene where Leonardo DiCaprio and Jonah Hill, they do Ludes. Okay. And Jonah Hill shows, he's like, dude, I got these ones. These are lemons. They're like top grade, like the lemons, not in the car, not in the terms of like, oh, you got a shit car or something.
Yeah,
like
no, I
like
get it.
Right,
No.
They're called lemons. And so, dude, they take them, and then they're like, oh man, I'm not feeling nothing. Right? Oh, creepers, right?
Oh.
So like, let's take some more. I'm still not feeling it. Let's take some more. And dude, they get fucked up.
Is that where they crash a helicopter?
No,
I haven't watched the movie, but I've heard of it.
No, but that's in the movie. No, he crashes a Lamborghini. Sort of.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
But anyways, dude, it's a phenomenal scene. And the cool thing is, though, is that Jonah Hill, he's getting interviewed with him and Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio before the movie is, well, no, the movie's been out.
Okay.
This guy's interviewing him and he asks him about that scene. And Jonah Hill's like, yeah, I tried to find some to take just to see what it'd be like. And I couldn't find any. Like, dude, they're non-existent. They're gone. Like they're gone. So if anybody out there, if you guys have dabbled, we're not suggesting you do that, but if you dabbled and you have experience,
tell us about it.
Is it realistic to that scene in the movie? And does it also feel like this sound, the song?
Now,
because I have a feeling it is. It's a trippy song, man.
I think so too. Now, one thing I want to mention about it is that it's based on this repeating loop. Now, if you've ever listened to, I would argue, my favorite podcast other than the Scratch a Track presented by the Dude and Groom Show, Disgraceland, Jake Brennan always starts out the episodes with like this kind of cheesy music. And he's like, that was not great music. That was a pre-recorded loop for my Mellotron. That I am very fucking certain that is a loop on a Mellotron doing that sound. And they're just, and I love the lyrics in there. Like, they're just so kind of weird. Like, it's so hard to apologize. So I'm just going to skip it. Yes. Like, there's just great. I don't know. I could see why that would be a lot of people's scratch, but it sure as shit is not mine, because I love that song. It's so weird.
Yeah. And since we got 3 minutes left, we should really move on to the next couple of songs and kind of skate out, my friend.
Yeah.
All right.
So Warsaw, The First Breath You Take Before You Give Up.
Longest song on the album, 7 minutes and 50 seconds. Dude.
Now, to me, that is most reminiscent of Queens of the Stone Age. Just with that, it's very like robotic in its feel.
Yeah. I mean, dude.
But one of my favorites. Easily one of my favorites.
It's
top
fucking,
3.
No, absolutely. It's great. And dude, it's got a really gritty sound to it. Definitely dig it. And there's parts in it, and I know I referenced this earlier, that remind me a little bit of The Doors.
Oh yeah. Yes. Oh, for sure. Yeah, when they get into get into that breakdown. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yep. And then we move on to Caligulove, which, dude, Caligula was actually supposed to be the name of the band initially, but somebody else took it. Just like More. I mean, duh.
Yeah.
But Caligulove.
And that's kind of I don't really know how to describe the song. It's just
my Caligula. Dude, I would just say, dude, the song kind of it drives and it hits. Dude, I feel like some of the vocals were actually recorded, and I feel like this on some of the other songs. The vocals recorded in sort of a bigger room, or at least a little bit of. No, I'm not talking about like Isaac Brock.
No,
distance,
but more so than this.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I feel like some of them recorded in a bigger room. And I think it's a cool song, man. I totally dig it. We move on, dude. Gunman. All right, Nintendo Super Mario. In the beginning, dude. That little intro, man, dude. It's so Super Mario to me. Like I totally dig it.
Got that driving beat.
Yes, the dude. Such a good groove. Song moves along. But yeah, I can't like when I hear it, I'm like, dude, oh, it's got this Mario sound. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Keep playing. I like Mario.
Yeah.
Good shit.
I like the lyrics. It's kind of dark. But dude, Spinning in the Daffodils.
That's one of your faves, isn't it?
Oh, top 3 for sure. My top 3, Spinning in the Daffodils, Warsaw Elephants, and Dead End Friends. But dude, Spinning in the Daffodils, there is a video that Josh Homme did where he's playing this song just solo acoustic, like outdoors, and it is fucking awesome.
I think I've seen that.
So good. And to me, this might be my favorite song on the album. It's got there's Mellotron. I mean, like everything in it is so awesome. I love how it changes, and I think it's the piano dark, intro. But the piano intro is gorgeous. I think it's a great way to end the album,
dude. My favorite line: "Holes that need to be filled."
Yeah,
it's like MacGruber says. I like holes.
Yeah. All right. So what's your favorite song on the album?
Ooh, all right. So I'm gonna be really freaking lame here. I'm going with New Fang.
Okay, that's fair.
I do dig it. I love it. It's my favorite.
I still think I have trouble deciphering between Spinning in the Daffodils or Dead End Friends.
Okay,
but those would be top 2.
Okay.
So without further ado,
tee up. 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay, I am going to scratch Caligulove.
Oh,
not a terrible song, just not my favorite. Like, and if there was one I was gonna skip, can easily go from Warsaw into Gunman. No problem.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and scratch my White Stripes song, Elephants.
Oh,
I know, and let me tell you why,
dude. Let me just.
What the fuck is that shit?
I think it just said it.
Okay. I'm going to scratch it because it is repetitive, but I like it. And it's time to go on the Dude and Grim Show.
Scratch a Track is produced by the Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by Moore and the Tims. Copyright 2021, The Dude and Grim Show.